Hey guys, what's going on? Tenebris here. Welcome back to the channel. So this is a discussion that I had with a forum user who goes by Helium1S2, who is a forum user, and this discussion was actually about the Badlion Client and its implementation on Hypixel. We did agree on some things, we did disagree on some other things, and this is just the full discussion, so hope everyone enjoys, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, so the first question is, should Hypixel implement Badlion Client to the network?
What do you mean? I want to make sure I understand what you're asking
Should they
correctly. Do you
implement
mean there's
Badlion client compatibility with the anti-cheat, like Badlion anti-cheat client, or back? Like, should that be enabled on Hypixel?
already enabled, right? You can join Hypixel with the client.
No, but the anti-cheat is disabled.
So Badline's server-side anti-cheat, right?
No, Badlion's client-side anti-cheat, but it needs server-side implementation. Should Hypixel implement it server-side?
Implementation to connect with it on the server, confirm that it's working legit and everything like that,
Yes.
right? Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Okay. So I'm going to agree with you on that. Next question is, should Hypixel encourage it? Now, it could encourage it in different ways. You could either have an incentive in-game, like, for example, a coin multiplier, or you could, have a post on the forums or like, Hypixel, tells people to use the client, even though it doesn't actually provide a benefit. Do you think they should do that?
I think encouraging it is a good idea, but you have to do it a certain way.
Okay.
Providing in-game benefits like increased coin gain, or anything like that, is a good idea, or even an increased rating gain, because there are people. It's not available on Mac.
Yes. You said it's a
People
bad
are
idea. A
argue-
bad idea to increase to allow to give an incentive in game.
Let me finish. I was going to say
Okay.
there are a lot of people, and also I want to clarify. Many people make the argument, "Oh, you can just use Boot Camp." I played for 5 years on a MacBook that could barely run Minecraft on minimum settings. So trying to run Boot Camp on that just wouldn't have worked.
So you're saying
Oh,
they should not have incentives in game.
so in-game incentives in terms of direct rewards,
Yes.
so increased rating gain,
Yeah.
increased coins. I don't think that's a good idea because that gives an unfair advantage to people who are.
But
who
then
are
what's the
using
point? Then why? What's the point of using Badlion Client if you can just use the regular Minecraft and cheat?
What?
If there's no incentive in game, then what's the point of using Badlion Client if you could just use your regular Minecraft and cheat?
Well, that gets more into the argument of do you require it or not.
Well,
So
I'm not for requiring it.
encouraging it.
I'm saying it should be encouraged with in-game incentives because, as it currently stands, no one has to use Badlion Client. People can go on vanilla Minecraft and cheat. So what's the point of allowing Badlion Client or implementing it if you're not going to encourage it with in-game rewards?
Oh, I was going to say, I think there are other ways to encourage it that don't require giving a coin boost or a rating boost.
Okay,
So
tell me
I
about
think a
those.
good example, it would be great if you could just have a little star by your name that said, hey, this person is currently logged in with a Badlion client, therefore you know they're not cheating.
Yeah, but is that really going to prevent cheaters?
In ranked, one of the main
Well, it will tell you that they're
problems.
legit, but it won't prevent cheaters from just going on a vanilla Minecraft. If you make a rating cap in ranked, for example, which is one of the things I'm for doing, capping a rating at a certain point where you have to use the client to get over it. That will cause no cheaters above a certain rating, which is what everyone wants. And there's no point if you're just gonna have a star by the name. What's gonna prevent some guy using Killer coming on the server and just hacking, not using Badlion Client?
Oh, well, do you mind if I finish why I think the star could be useful? I mean, either way, I think they should implement that. But the benefit to that is I know there are a lot of people who record all their games. If you record a game and you see everybody else has a star, you don't have to worry about it. Record a game and someone's hacking and they get banned for the video, I think your rating should be restored for that game. And I'm not sure if Hypixel does that yet. I don't think they do.
They don't.
Partially. That probably wouldn't be too difficult to implement automated. I know, because Watchdog bans are all automated, and moderator bans are through the same system, I think.
Yeah, but what about the people that can't be seen by moderators or Watchdog?
Video of someone.
No. What about the cheaters who cannot be seen by moderators or Watchdog?
Super subtle stuff like very slightly increased reach.
Like a randomized auto clicker or 3.1 reach or aim assist.
Well, that's an interesting question.
What are you going to do about that?
So,
Because at that point, even if you increase the amount of moderators on, I'll let you start in 1 second. If you increase the amount of moderators on the server, the leaderboards, instead of being dominated by people using 6-block reach, the leaderboards are just going to be dominated by people using aim assist and auto clicker. So, but yeah, what were you saying?
um, sort of a difficult question. On the one hand, you don't want to count people out who can't get the client. But on the other hand, it is a legitimate concern, sort of, wanting to block even those slight cheats. So if you're going to be requiring a client, right? Age, potentially, so if you're going to require a client, you could take it beyond that, right? You wouldn't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't just have to. You could do it non-vanilla Minecraft. Hypixel's shown that they can rewrite the Minecraft server. They've done it twice now, I think.
Okay.
Server-side combat calculations.
But what is that going to do?
Well, I know a lot of games handle all their calculations on the server side, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
And Minecraft's sort of very different in that the client's sort of responsible for handling all this.
Yeah.
If you're going to require a client,
yes,
and you're going to put all the effort into running a client in anti-cheat, the Badlion Client already exists, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how much effort it would be to integrate it. So,
well,
I support the idea of requiring a client for sort of the very high levels, but I'm trying to think. It's an interesting question, and I'm definitely prepared to be convinced that it should be done, and I'm sort of undecided. But it's a very interesting question.
Right.
I'm just kind of thinking about it.
So the thing is that other servers have already done this server-side integration, like Gomi HD, who's smaller than Hypixel, so of course it's not exactly equivalent, but Gomi HD is a pretty substantial server. I'm pretty sure last time I checked they had 18,000 players on. So, they implemented it. So it's definitely possible to do. But I wanted to touch on one point that you had, which is you don't want to count out the people who can't use the client, right? And
that's really my only concern at this point.
Yes, the thing about that is, and this is just an unfortunate thing, the Mac OS is incredibly easy to exploit.
What is it? You log in with root and leave the password.
No. It's no. I
know what you're saying.
It's much easier to hide a cheat in the Mac OS than it is Windows. Because of the way it's structured. So there's never going to be.
That's why.
There's never going to be a client-side anti-cheat which is effective for Mac.
Well, if there's really nothing you can do, you sort of do tournaments. So, because personally, I don't really care about ranked hours too much, but I know a lot of people kind of freak out about the cosmetics.
Yes, of course.
For a Mac user, maybe you do separate tournaments. So if you use the Badlion Client, you're only placed in games with other people using the client. The motivation to use it would be you'd be guaranteed to be in a game without cheaters.
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to encourage people to use it.
For anyone who does use it, they are guaranteed to be safe.
Yeah, but that also splits the community, splits the Ranked Skywars community, it splits the Ranked Skywars community, which is already a pretty small section of the server, and I don't think that that's exactly smart.
Requiring the client to split the community as well, do we know it wouldn't?
Well, requiring the client would not, because you're going to have the same people queuing the same games, regardless if they have a client or not.
Client, then they're... Oh, yeah, because you can just do the rating cap.
Yes. That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm for. I'm for a rating cap.
Oh, rating cap's an interesting idea. My only concern, but then that doesn't really do anything about hackers at the lower level, right?
No, it doesn't. But if all the hackers are at 900,
you're out of the water and the sharks can't get you. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean,
That's fine with
just
me.
cap it at, like, I don't know, cap it at 1,500. And then, or you don't even have to have a set value. You can make it random for everyone so that, like, over time, eventually they're going to have to be required to use it. Maybe you can make it off the number of games they play. It could be anything, you know? After 100 games, you have to use it. Something like that.
Or something, or you could do it in terms of position. So
Hmm.
your rating is capped to keep you out of the top 1,000 unless you use the client.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm proposing.
I think that's interesting. I think that could work.
Hmm.
I think
So,
that sounds fine to me.
so, so what exactly do we disagree on? Because it seems that I kind of convinced you there to reconsider your position.
It's unhackable.
It's unhackable.
Well, that's what you claim.
No, I never. Well, I may have claimed something to. I may have claimed something akin to it is very difficult to reverse engineer, way more difficult than Watchdog or any server-side anti-cheat. Um, to back that up, the evidence that I have is that no one in the CS:GO community who uses the same anti-cheat, ESEA, has fully reverse engineered it. Yes, there's bypasses. Most of them are very old. Of course, there's going to be bypasses with everything. But I'm not really concerned about that in the MC community because of the cheat developing. The cheat developers in the MC community are incompetent compared to the ones in CS:GO because MC is more of a casual game and CS:GO is obviously more of a competitive game. So I'm not as concerned about bypasses. But what I am concerned about is, you know, saying that it's, you know, going to be like all of a sudden reverse engineered because it came to the MC community. I don't think so. I don't think it's going to be.
Oh, I think there's a couple things that sort of contrast it with CS:GO.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I assume Badlion anti-cheat is written in Java.
No. Badlion anti-cheat is ESEA. I can't really provide much details because I'm under NDA, but I can tell you that it is not written in Java. I do not. I don't believe it is. That's because it is ESEA, and ESEA is for CS:GO. It's literally the exact same anti-cheat. The anti-cheat itself is not written in Java.
Then it's separate from the client
Yes, of course.
anti-cheat.
The anti-cheat comes with the client, but the anti-cheat itself is separate from the client.
So, like when you launch the client, it launches the client and the anti-cheat.
Yes.
So obviously, Minecraft hackers are not going to be as good at this as maybe they do for other games. Minecraft is client-side combat, so there's tons of really well-known exploits you can use.
Of course, yeah.
Minecraft's written in Java,
Yes.
so you can just compile it super easily.
Yep.
But what we have seen is people sell cheat clients, right?
Mm-hmm.
So try. And, eventually it might happen. Someone could break it.
Yeah, but if okay, well, I'm not disputing that. I'm my point is that
Very unlikely.
Minecraft's community is way more casual than, Counter-Strike's. And it has not happened in Counter-Strike, so why would we expect it to happen in MC?
So,
But yeah, it's definitely possible.
I'm
I'm just saying a server-side anti-cheat, like compared to Watchdog, it's thousands of times better. It's 1,200 times better than G cheat. There's actual statistics that actually prove that. So, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it's kind of an unfair competition. It's like judging a horse against a race car.
Not necessarily. They're both preventing cheaters.
I mean, and a horse and a race car are both trying to get somewhere. But a client-side anti-cheat is always inherently going to be better.
Yes.
Because it can monitor directly what you're doing on the computer.
Exactly.
So my take on that is, I mean, my whole argument from this point is it's been possible. I'm not trying to argue that it will happen. In fact, I think it probably won't.
Well, I'm glad you clarified that.
You did argue at several points that it was impossible to hack, and I don't think it is.
Well,
so,
I must have misspoke because that's not actually my position.
A while ago, too.
Very difficult.
Argued about like obfuscation or whatever. Take on that is it's a separate executable. So you can monitor. So first of all, you can test it as much as you want, and you can monitor everything it does, at least everything that goes in and out of it.
That may or may not be correct. I'm not sure. How do you know that? Do you have any evidence to back that up?
Oh no, no. So my take on it is it's on your computer, right?
Yeah.
It has to be its client side.
Yeah.
You can copy that code and take it somewhere else,
Not
right?
necessarily.
I mean, if it's on your computer, the bytes on the disk can put them somewhere.
Well, there's obviously going to be protection against that.
I mean,
I don't think it's going to be super
so
easy because obviously no one's done it in the CS:GO community. I have a cheat developer who actually makes cheats for Roblox, which has a very good client-side anti-cheat, believe it or not. And he told me that no one has ever. He told me that ESEA number one is incredibly difficult to bypass, and no one has reverse engineered it because it's not like. I mean, you can decompile it and get the bytecode, but that's useless. So.
all I'm saying, in terms of copying, so
Mhm.
you can put it on a virtual machine.
No, you can't actually.
So, whoa, so that doesn't mean that you can reverse engineer it. All I'm saying is it's possible to get the code.
Not to the anti-cheat. Well, yes. Okay. Let me rephrase that. It's possible, but do I think that anyone is going to accomplish that? No, I don't think so.
I mean, what? And I mean, I know you're under non-disclosure agreement, so you can't talk a ton about it.
Yeah.
But you copy byte from byte, byte by byte from your hard drive. It is on there, correct?
Yeah.
In safe mode, so nothing runs on startup. Even just mounted as an external drive.
Okay. But let me just cut you off really quickly. All of this stuff that you're talking about is infinitely more difficult to do than bypassing Watchdog.
That's not what this is about.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it doesn't matter. What I'm saying is that it's much easier to bypass a server-side anti-cheat, which you said yourself, that a client-side anti-cheat will always be better than a server-side anti-cheat. But I'm saying that even if you can find some like roundabout method to reverse engineer the client, it's still going to be way harder to do that than to bypass the server-side anti-cheat. So it's not really an argument.
That's not what I'm arguing for. I'm simply saying that you can do it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you can't. I'm just saying it's very
Through the
difficult
thought experiment of, oh, I have this software that's designed to not be reverse engineered. Let's try to reverse engineer it. It sounds like fun.
Okay, if you can find me someone who can do that, I'll believe you. But based on what I've seen and the evidence that I've seen over time, I don't believe that it's going to happen because, I mean, yes, it is possible, but do I think anyone's going to do that? And do I think anyone's going to do that in the MC community? Absolutely not.
But whoa, I have a question.
Yes.
If I take so I dual boot my computer, right? I've got a Mac, I've got a Linux partition and a Windows partition.
Okay.
If I boot into Linux, I can access my Windows files.
Mm-hmm.
So what's to prevent me from copying those over and doing whatever I want with them?
Nothing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know any information about that. So.
What?
I don't know any information about that.
So the whole basis is, Badlion anti-cheat will ban your hardware ID, right?
Yes.
If you use a virtual machine, you
cannot run Badlion Client on a virtual machine.
It'll just shut itself down?
No, you can try it. It won't work.
I'm just curious what won't work about it.
No, it won't work. Like, the anti-cheat will not run in software, which prevents you from running it on a VM. There's literally no way you can run it on a VM. So that won't work.
For ID, though, right?
Yes, it bans your HWID. That's a known fact.
You can still change it, though.
Not in the way that you think, actually. Because the anti-cheat runs at kernel level, so it's very, very difficult to change your
Give it access to everything on your computer,
yes.
Right?
It's very, very difficult to change your HWID. And by the way, I don't think it only bans your HWID. It probably has other layers of security. I'm not too sure about this myself, but I assume it probably has other layers of security other than HWID, which it is, keeping track of the users, right?
I mean, my take on this is you could do it.
Yeah, of course. But that doesn't mean that
So,
it's... Yeah, okay.
so, like, for example, the people who could do it did. And pretty through obscurity, but yeah, that I'll admit that.
Okay.
It's sort of like nothing. I'm making the point that you can't say that it's completely unreverse engineerable.
No, it's definitely reverse engineerable, but do I think that anyone's going to do it? No.
It's fair. That's a fair argument.
Mm-hmm.
The only other thing you were sort of talking about, it wasn't you. Someone was talking about just requiring it globally.
Requiring it.
Requiring the client.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think a good idea, or?
I think that's a bad idea because of people who can't use the client. That's where I kind of draw the line. I think that it should be incentivized in game with like coin rewards or rating caps or whatever, right? But to the point of when they can't join the server with the client, that's when it stops. That's when I think that the argument about Mac users or anyone who can't use the client is important to take into consideration.
Okay. Another concern is you're basically giving the client access to everything on your computer. So, someone, look, it happens to everyone. You put your password in on a bad site, and someone gets access to you.
Yeah, but that's what end user license agreements are for. They're not going to use your data in a malicious way. When you download the client, you have to click I agree for that. So.
And I agree states that the company won't.
Well, it's basically it's probably I haven't actually read it, but I assume it says that it's not going to use your information for any malicious purposes, which is what it's stated on the website, on Badlion Client website, on the Badlion Client website. Because
I believe that Badlion won't, but
yeah.
Everyone who uses this client is completely open to it, right? It can
but
potentially see anything.
The company has an incentive not to do that. Not even the company, but like just anyone who has created the software, right, has an incentive not to do it because of the market. Because if they get exposed for doing that, everything will plummet.
No, I'm not saying that one of them's going to do it. I'm saying the password on a bad site, and someone else gets access to the password.
Of course, but there's an agreement that you have when you install the client that they're not going to do anything with your information that's malicious.
If someone gets their password, you're saying they won't even store the data.
I don't think that they look at passwords. I don't think it's necessary for them to look at passwords. That doesn't make any sense to me.
No, the only point I'm making is I read an article by what was it? It was Cloudflare. Sort of, they were describing it as their sort of nightmare scenario for DDoSes, and it was basically that at jQuery, for example, like the JavaScript library that everyone and their mom uses, someone there basically loses their password. I mean, accidentally put it into a site into a phishing site or whatever, and someone gets access to their account and realizes what's happened and puts just a little code snippet in, tens of thousands of lines, and it slips through the cracks. And you can set your a web client up to just ping.
Couldn't that happen with every website?
Well, with everybody who opened the website, they would become a part of that.
Yeah, so it could happen with any website. So it's not a specific argument for Badlion Client.
So the problem I'm saying, I'm using that as an example. I'm not saying that Badlion Client.
Yeah, I'm not disputing that happens.
If a similar thing happened with the Badlion Client, you could run into a scenario where they realize, this has access to everything.
Yeah, but I'm sure. Yeah, but as I said previously, the company is going to try their best to make that not happen because of the market.
jQuery will do the same thing. If you look at like the people who make make what's it called,
Well, I'm sure they make a lot
antivirus
of money.
software.
I'm sure, but the company who's protecting against that sort of thing happening also has an incentive to prevent it. So I'm not saying it's impossible for it to happen. I'm just saying it's likely not going to happen. This is my whole thing. It's like all this stuff. It's likely not going to happen. You're kind of thinking about the what if, and I'm thinking about
Because
what's the most likely to happen.
my only concern with the what if is time and time again we see that it happens.
Okay.
Major companies accidentally introduce security flaws. People, there was a major hack recently where basically someone lost their password, and that was all it took to get to sort of start it. That was their way in.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not a silver bullet. It's everybody on the forums is running.
What information are you scared of losing if someone does hack the Badlion client?
Bank account information, medical records. Just store this stuff on my computer.
Oh, you think that someone's going to hack the entire system of back? You think that the system of back's going to be hacked, or do you think that?
I think it would be very simple for them to just embed some code into it if they had write access to the repository.
In ESCA.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
I think it will happen. I'm saying it's possible, and I don't trust them. I don't tend to trust technology in general because I don't trust them to do it right. ESEA, I'm sure they're very good at what they do.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying it's impossible for it to happen. I'm just saying, and you might say, oh yeah, it happens time and time again. But I'm saying that I don't see that happening, especially when the people who are working on the client are incredibly competent at what they do, and they are.
You know them personally, which
yes.
I don't. And I'm sure if I knew them personally too, I'd be very confident in them.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I have a friend who basically like constantly tries to get around whatever his cell provider does to him
mm-hmm.
to like throttle his data.
Yes.
So like if he said, listen, I have this trick that'll get you data that will basically make it so Verizon doesn't throttle your phone.
Mm-hmm.
I would believe him. I wouldn't do it, but I would believe that it would work.
Yeah.
Because I know him and I trust that he's competent and knows what he's doing. Just like these developers and
exactly.
know what they're doing.
But I do see where you're coming from, actually. And I am generally very cautious about my information as well on the internet. But as you said previously, I have a bias because I know these people personally, and I personally think they're very competent in what they do. But yeah, I guess
my take on this,
a differing opinion.
And also on this come up because someone on the forums once again posts about how Badlion anti-cheat is this magical thing. It's the silver bullet. It is the best thing since sliced bread. And so I go on, and usually I respond saying something down the lines of like, you can't enforce it for everybody, it would kill the network.
Well, that's correct.
It devolves into an argument, and they basically say something about it being perfect and unhackable. And that just, kind of bothers me very slightly.
The developers themselves would not admit that it's unhackable, but the developers themselves are the level at which they have the security is immense, and I don't think anyone is going to be able to bypass it.
I am sure.
I mean, I have the vape, not a vape developer, but obviously you probably know what that is. But a vape, someone who works for Vape, he's an admin on the vape forums, James, saying that Badlion Client is impossible to bypass for now. That's exact quote from him. Let me pull it up real quick.
I mean, no, and you don't have to cite the quote or anything. Okay. I believe you. Again, all of these arguments are me sort of saying, someone is wrong on the internet. I have to argue with them. Mm-hmm. But the reason I go through this is it ends up leading to sort of interesting thought experiments. So like when you started talking about obfuscation, mm-hmm. that led me to Google 30 minutes about Java obfuscators and deobfuscators, and then which led to decompiling C++ bytecode, which was really interesting. Mm-hmm. I like writing in assembly every now and then. So it was sort of interesting to see like, oh, you have a C program and it decompiles to assembly, and then you compile it back, see what happens to it.
Yeah.
So, arguing with people is fun.
Yeah, okay. Well,
as I'm sure.
I thought this was a pretty good discussion. I think this is a good point to end it. So hope everyone enjoyed. This is a Helium S2 from the forums.
No, come on, you got to say it right. Yeah.
Helium 1 S2. That's what it is, right?
electrons from it. I was a huge nerd in middle school.
Oh my gosh, that's what it is. I forgot. I haven't took chemistry in like 3 years, so I I completely
I
forgot.
dropped that like a hot coal.
Anyway, yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.